Catherine Eddowes was the second victim in the same night. Her body was severely mutilated, including her face. Her uterus was removed as well as her left kidney.
So only 45 minutes after the murder of Elizabeth Stride, investigators stumbled upon the body of Catherine Eddowes here.
Right here?
In this general area. There used to be a flower bed here that was kind of, in a way, served as a memorial for her, but this was just, like I said, 45 minutes after a murder had just happened, about 10 to 15 minutes away, walking distance. But what's weird is that after he killed Catherine Eddowes here, he went back towards the direction of the first murder.
This guy knows how to zag.
Either that or he just knew the police routes.
I think he's just a zagger.
So the body is back there. Right now we're walking somewhat near the path that he would have taken away, walking east away from the body. And then we're about to arrive at a site where he dropped one of the only clues he actually left investigators.
Ooh.
It's here that police would discover one of the few solid clues in the entire case, a piece of Catherine Eddowes' apron found near the scene of the crime. The apron was found by Alfred Long in the doorway of an apartment block near Goulston Street, a nearby street east of the Eddowes murder site. Near this apron, a message was written in chalk that read, quote, "The Jews are the men that will not be blamed for nothing," end quote, a sign of the anti-Semitism that was common in the area. However, the crucial detail of this clue is the fact that it was found east of the Eddowes murder site, in the direction of Elizabeth Stride's murder site, the murder that occurred just 45 minutes prior. This perplexing decision could mean that the killer willingly entered an area that was swarming with cops. Aside from demonstrating the killer's evasive abilities, this could suggest the killer lived in this East London area, as it possibly explains the motive for entering a dangerous situation. Later, a postcard is received by the police department, dated October 1st, and written by someone also claiming to be the Ripper with similar handwriting. Quote, "I was not codding dear old boss when I gave you the tip. You'll hear about Saucy Jackie's work tomorrow, double event this time. Number one squealed a bit, couldn't finish straight off. Had not the time to get ears for police. Thanks for keeping last letter back till I got to work again. Jack the Ripper," end quote.
This isn't confirmed, but there is information out there that this postcard was received by the press agency, or whoever received it, the morning after the night of the double event. The thing being there that's strange is none of the public knew about this double event because it hadn't been in papers yet. Yet this guy was able to describe what happened in detail.
Yeah, because they're not running around.
No, I mean, there's not like
Two people got murdered tonight.
There's not Twitter.
Pass it down.
Yeah, they're not playing a giant game of telephone with Dixie cups. There isn't Twitter. So it's possible and quite likely that if the timing of this is true, this is Jack the Ripper.
On the 13th of October in 1888, the police spent a week searching every house in the East End's worst slums, but found nothing. On October 16th, a man named George Lusk received a letter. Lusk was the head of the Mile End Vigilance Committee, a group comprised of local businessmen to assist the police. The letter was signed, quote, "From hell," end quote, and it was delivered in a box with half a human kidney. The kidney at the time was believed to be Catherine Eddowes' missing kidney. However, it was found to be a prank by a medical student.
Wait, so the From Hell letter was a medical student? That's disappointing.
I suppose, yeah.
Because I love From Hell. Just that as a sign-off. From hell.
This kind of also demonstrates the climate surrounding this. Like,
right. People
weren't like, this is the worst thing on earth. There are people thinking,
like, well, we can have fun with this.
Wouldn't it be funny?
This is like the Ice Bucket Challenge. Let's everybody get involved in this.
Nearly a month later, on November 9th, 1888, the body of the fifth and final canonical victim, Mary Kelly, was found at 13 Miller's Court in her bed by her landlord's assistant, who was seeking rent. This murder was by far the most gruesome, as her body was disemboweled and, quote, "virtually skinned down," end quote.
This is the last victim. It's a little tricky because where there used to be an apartment building is now, as you can see, it's a parking lot or a car park. So we can't really know where exactly it was, but we know it was near the church. We know it was near the 10 Bells pub. So we could be actually at the place of residence of Jack himself.
Here's the landlord on the state of the body. Quote, "The sight that we saw, I cannot drive away from my mind. It looked more like the work of a devil than of a man." End quote. And with that, we arrive at the end of the 5 canonical victims. But as stated before, some believe there could be up to 11 victims. With Jack the Ripper's reign of terror, one should wonder if anybody caught a glimpse of this monster, and it would seem that people did. When aggregating eyewitness testimonies of those who believe they saw the Ripper, a rough outline of the killer can be visualized. It can be assumed that he was between 25 to 35 years old, roughly 5'5" to 5'7", stocky, with a fair complexion and a mustache. Allegedly, he was seen wearing a dark overcoat and a dark hat. The Scotland Yard's Violent Crime Command Team has said that Jack the Ripper, who one could call evil incarnated, could be described in appearance as, quote, "perfectly sane, frighteningly normal, and yet capable of extraordinary cruelty," end quote. Sir Melville Macnaghten, the Scotland Yard's head of the Criminal Investigation Department in 1903, had a general suspicion of who the killer was. He knew that the Ripper had basic knowledge of anatomy, possibly a doctor, and in Macnaghten's notes, he had narrowed his list of suspects down to 3 names. That being said, due to the overwhelming amount of compelling suspects and the fact that many feel the official 3 are not the Ripper, we're going to examine 8 names, starting with Macnaghten's 3 official suspects. The first.
In 160 seconds, you will decide how this story ends.